Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. ATR podcast. Gio Garcia here. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda. We're not wearing the same clothes. Well, actually, we are. It's just the same day, all right? If you guys just watched that Raymond Morataya interview, yeah, we had Raymond live. He is in the middle of training camp. He has a big fight January 24th against Andy Cruz, the Cuban fighter, highly touted. Only six professional fights, but one of the best amateurs out there. And yeah, that's going to be a great fight, Chris. January 24th. We're glad that our boy Raymond was able to join us for a few minutes.
Gio, like you said, this is going to pin two of the best boxers and boxing in that weight division. You said it right. Two technicians. We know that Andy Cruz, even though he doesn't have a whole lot of fights in the professional ranks, that amateur style, the Olympic style that he carries, is gonna give Raymond a competitive fight. Raymond, for his cause, more experience in the professional ranks, sitting more on his punches. We know the accolades that he brings along. Again, it's gonna be a chess match. It might be a fight in moments, but yeah, man, two technicians in that ring, and it's gonna be a great fight. Come fight night, Gio.
Yeah, man, we are excited for that. Oops, sorry. We're excited for that. And Chris, you had an interesting story that you touched on during the interview, actually. If you want to go a little bit more into detail, don't say names.
Yeah,
But yeah.
no, yeah, that's a story. Yeah, obviously you guys know I'm in Montana now. Before I left to Montana, I wanted to pay a visit to the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. We have a couple friends there, Raymond being one of them. And yeah, man, I saved that story and I brought it up to Ray. And it was one of those moments where I was there chatting it up with Pops with his dad. It was one of those days where his dad just didn't want him to spar for whatever reason. Sometimes these trainers don't want their fighters to over spar or spar just because they want them to save their strength, save their body, don't want to take chances, get hurt. On this particular day, and I told Ray this. I remember Ray saying like, "I need to spar. I want to spar." Just to give to some context, they hadn't had a fight or talks of a fight for a good number of months. So we know that the frustration in their camp was getting up there. So yeah, Ray decides to spar a fighter which I won't name, but somebody in his weight division. Ray begins to spar, starts to loosen up, starts unloading on this guy. So yeah, man, again, the worries that Pops had early on went away as we started seeing how fluid Ray was. Just again letting his hands go, his combination, the speed, the fluidity. It was just working on all cylinders. And after during that sparring session, I told his dad, "Hey, relax. Like he's sometimes us men, we just got to get out of our system when we're frustrated. Let him do his thing. He looks good in there." And I remember his dad just gave a little chuckle, like, "Yeah, you're right. It's just as a dad, I'm thinking as a dad." But yeah, I shared that story with Ray. He was just laughing, chuckling. I'm pretty sure he remembers that day. And again, yeah, man, it just shows that Ray's got that technique, that speed, that agility. And yeah, man, I'm excited for this fight, Gio. Again, I know that as journalists, we're not supposed to have a bias, but we're also fans. We're also people, and I mean, we're gonna be rooting for Raymond come fight night.
Yeah, what did you tell the other guy, Chris? What'd you
Oh man, I told the guy, hey, I'm like, hey man, keep your head up. He's like, I think it was a little woozy. He's all like, who was that guy? I'm like, oh, dude, that's one of the best fighters in the division, man. That's Raymond Murataya. He's all like, oh, then that's him. And I think his manager was all like, that's Ray. And I'm like, yeah, man, you guys. In my head, I'm like, you guys don't do your homework. But I mean, I was like, hey, no shame. That's one of the best guys in that division. So keep your head up, man. But yeah, man, that was crazy to see that moment. Again, I understand you when you're frustrated, you just want to throw them hands and do your thing. So again, Ray, I know he's gonna come ready, and it's gonna be a tough fight against Andy Cruz, but it's gonna be a great fight, a great night of boxing that night.
say the name? Says Iceman, as Mike Tyson would say. Say the name.
Can't say the name. Uh, Not a huge name. I mean, all right, it wasn't a huge name, but it was an exhibition for sure.
Yeah,
So yeah, man, yeah.
Chris said he saw blood splattering, and oh man, it sounded ugly. Sounded ugly.
Again, it's a again. I'm sure that that fighter got experience from that. Again, being in there with one of the very best, you can only walk away with experience. So, yeah, man, keep your head up, champ. No shame. No shame.
No shame, man. Again, January 24th, that's going down from Las Vegas. IBF champion Raymond Murataya defending his crown against Andy Cruz. The Cuban, will talk about it more, I'm sure, in weeks to come. Go check out that interview if you missed it. It was the last podcast, the last episode. All right, but yeah, let's go ahead and move on, man. What else? What else do we have? We got to talk about a lot that happened actually last week. And Chris, guess what, man? I got a surprise for you. I got a
What's up?
surprise for you.
What you got? You
Hey,
got
man,
an update?
finally updated these predictions, Chris. Finally, man. Feels like they haven't been updated in forever, but I'll put them up on the screen soon. All right, so you guys can check them out. But let's go straight into these fights. Let's start with Frank Martin, man. We didn't think he was going to KO Rances Bertelemi, the veteran, but he did it in 4 rounds, Chris. Your thoughts? The ghost Frank Martin look good.
No, he looked great, man. Again, we're here to be proven wrong. We did say he was going to win. We just didn't think he had the capacity to take out somebody like Bartholomew, but he did. So props to him. It's a knockout. Look good. Gets back in the winning column. And yeah, man, he puts himself in a nice position to get another big fight, Gio.
Yeah, 100%. Good win. Very good win. This was a good overall card on paper. Obviously, Iceman mentioning Janibek and Lara. We'll get into that in a little bit. The fight that didn't happen, but yeah, on paper this was supposed to be a very, very good fight. It started off well with Frank Martin, which was pretty much the first recognizable name of those fights. Kudos for Frank Martin. All right, what else do we have here? I'm trying to go in chronological order. I believe we had Jesus Alejandro Ramos right after that against Shane Mosley Jr. Chris, a fight that we thought was going to be a close one. I predicted a draw. I went for our boy, man. I couldn't let him down. Our boy Shane Mosley Jr. I liked the work that he did, man. I think Ramos is a tough guy to keep at bay. He's gonna come forward. Smaller physically, you can say on paper, more used to fighting the guys at 54. This fight was at 60. And then Shane Mosley, of course, he's fought as high as 168. Especially in his bigger win against Daniel Jacobs. But I like the work by both men. Both men were able to land big punches, trade. It was a very entertaining fight. I think Ramos just had maybe a little bit more in the take, maybe a little bit more power. But it was a very good fight. I think it was pretty even. But like I said, I think Ramos was able to do just enough to win some of those rounds. And at the end, win a comfortable decision on the scorecards, 117 111 on 2 cards, 116, 112 on the other, Chris.
Yeah, I think I saw it more 116, 112 again. I think Shane did some good things and moments, and he was a game fighter. He kept it competitive, but it just felt like Ramos was just, kind of making his mark, winning a little bit more of those rounds, especially towards the end. And yeah, again, it was the power. It reminds you a little bit of that Munguia kind of style, where the power, even though you may not be as technically sound as your opponent, it's just that power that kind of just digs into you, and that ultimately was the fight. I feel like Ramos just did enough to separate himself from Mosley. Again, Mosley, keep your head up. Again, it was a good game, fair, good fight, competitive, but Ramos was just the better fighter on the night, Gio.
Yeah, let's quick comments here. Shane was tough, says Kyle. Iceman says, yeah, Ramos looked better. Yeah, look, Ramos 24 and 1, 19 KOs. He has a ton of power. He's only 24 years old. His only loss is to Erickson Lubin, which was a controversial one in the eyes of many people, including myself. I thought that was one that could have and should have gone Ramos's way, but it didn't. And you see some of the other big wins there. Johan Gonzalez, he TKO'd him in 9, who was a gentleman who fought Lara that night. In that undercard of Roach versus Cruz, Jason Rosario TKO'd him. And then this other win, now this newest win against Shane Mosley. Very good one. Mosley, who was a veteran, 22-5 now, 34 years old. As we said, he's got some names in that resume. Obviously, he has a loss to Adams. He defeated uh, Gabriel Rosado. He lost to Quigley in a close one. Defeated Daniel Jacobs. But yeah, I think Shane was tough. He went in there. A lot of people thought he was gonna get destroyed. If we rewind back to the poll, not many people voted for Shane Mosley to win this fight, but I think he made it a good fight, an entertaining fight, and yeah, I think man, he just needed a little more to edge out some of those rounds, and things could have been different. Man, he was able to back Ramos up at some points in this fight. But I like Ramos, man. I really do, and I feel like he needs to continue taking these tough fights. As I said, he's only 24, but he's got some good names in that resume.
Sure, he's 24, but he looks 29. No, again,
Yeah.
Ramos just he's got that kind of Munguia kind of power, that bulkiness, that strength. So that's gonna see him, weather a lot of opponents down that don't have that same power. So yeah, again, good win for Ramos. He puts himself back. Again, I think the biggest asterisk was the fight that we felt that he didn't lose, but he lost on paper. So again, he's bouncing back, getting back into those winning ways where we feel like he's also one of the top 154, 160 pounders out there, Joe.
Yeah, and uh, I think Ramos, you know, can make some noise. We had Lara. We can just jump straight to that one. As Iceman rewinding that to that fight with Ramos and Lubin. He says Lubin didn't win that fight, in my opinion. And I would strongly agree. But yeah, um, another interesting fight at 160 was supposed to be Janibek against Lara. Janibek got popped, Chris. He got popped, even though Iceman says there was a foul play there. But he got popped. He failed a drug test. There was a last minute replacement, John Gonzalez. And, we predicted that Lara would win this one by decision. Lara is a guy historically who doesn't have a ton of power. As of late, he's been actually stopping some of his opponents. You see his record there, 30, 2-3, 19 KOs. He's 42 years old. Cuban years, Chris.
Yeah.
Unknown, right? He stopped guys like Danny Garcia, Michael Sarafa, Gary O'Sullivan. Um, and against Johan Gonzalez, he was able to hurt him early uh, and late. Gonzalez down in round 1 and round 12. At the end, he gets the unanimous decision, holds on to the belt. And most importantly, didn't have to fight Janibek that night, Chris.
Yeah, again, this is I don't want to say an easy, but yeah, it's somewhat another day at the office for Lada. Again, at 42, much more skilled than his opponent. Still has some good lateral movement. Not as great as when he was in his prime, but still enough to bewilder his opponent. Again, this is a day at the office where you were supposed to get fired, and somebody says, you know what, we're gonna keep you another month or two. Easy payday, man. Easy payday. You knocked down his opponent, like you said, twice. Even at 42, out of his league. So again, avoided, a disaster against Janibek that, we were kind of expecting if that fight were to materialize. And again, like I said in the previous podcast, is no fault of Lara, in my opinion. So another payday. Having said that, it was a pretty boring fight, Gio, in my opinion. The commentators were losing things to say. Again, you got to give the commentators, we've commentated before, you got to give us something to say, man. We can only say so much. You got to give us action. You got to give us punches. If there's not a lot being thrown, if there's just a lot of lateral movement, there's not much you can say as a commentator. So again, pretty boring fight in my opinion. I expect a little bit more from Lara, even with those two knockdowns. There was a lot of moments in between those rounds, in between those knockdowns, that it was a lot of the people at home were falling asleep.
Yeah, not much there. So let's go ahead and move on. Man, O'Shaquie Foster against Stephen Fulton, Chris. Talking about disappointments. Very disappointed with Fulton. He didn't even make weight, Chris. He was
Yeah.
going up in weight. He was 2 pounds over. And that one organization did some funky stuff there. I'm not even gonna name them because I feel like they do a lot of this stuff for clout. But at the end, This was supposed to be a fight at 130, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Somehow they changed the rules up because Fulton didn't make weight. They said, oh, now it's going to be for an interim belt at 135. The winner gets an opportunity against this guy or that guy. I think Shakur. Oh, it was a mess, Chris. Had I known that, my vote would have been different. But on Tuesday when we did the podcast, I went for Stephen Fulton. I didn't think he was going to be unprofessional, be 2 pounds overweight. How you go up in weight in a weight class and not make weight? Man, what a blunder. And I don't know what was worse, that or the fight itself. He did not look good at all. I can say easy win for O'Shaquie Foster. 118 110 on one of the scorecards, 119 109 on the other, 117 111 in the third. Easy, I must say, for O'Shaquie Foster, who looked like the bigger guy, longer reach. Fulton looks slow. O'Shaquie Foster gets his 24th win as a professional, Chris.
Yeah, this thing that Fulton pulled off got me thinking, Theo, is that you? Again, I see why you voted for Fulton. I mean, he looked incredible in his last outing, avenging his loss, looking sensational. So you felt that was going to continue. And even though I picked O'Shaquie because of the size factor, I wasn't 100%, especially since we just got, Terrence Crawford going up in weight and doing what he did to Canelo. I was like, man, is it the moment of the little guys, usurping the bigger guy? So I was a little nervous on my pick, but yeah, like you said, come fight night Fulton. Man, what is he doing? Again, that was an easy win for me, an easy pick. Yeah, I'm professional on Fulton again. Very topsy-turvy, man. Very old Teofimo where you don't know which one you're getting. So yeah, man, it was a easy decision for Foster. I mean, he was getting all the flowers, all the hype from the commentators on Fight Night. But I mean, it's a combination of his work and Fulton just not being professional. So again, come on, Fulton, gotta get it together, man. Roller coaster right now for your fight fans.
Yeah, and Iceman says Foster looked like Mayweather in there. Something was wrong with Fulton for sure. He says it should have been 120 to 108 going in on Fulton. Yeah, he looked terrible. He looked bad. Few rounds into the fight, I'm like, man, why did I pick this guy? It was not looking good at all.
Yeah, and again, if this was Fulton at 100% focus and professionalism, we would have gotten a nice little back and forth. Again, we know that both these guys are also technicians, pure boxers, but man, Fulton left that style, that person at home because there was nothing there. I mean, even round one when I saw his fit, his kicks, I was like, okay, are we gonna see another Fulton masterpiece? And nowhere to be seen. And again, I'm just glad because I picked O'Shaquie, so that puts me up in the predictions box, But I would have rather have seen a competitive fight,
I heard Fulton was visiting a local bar in New York a lot, says Kyle.
Wow. Kyle got the inside info.
Hey man, look, I feel like I've never really I've never voted for Fulton, I believe, on this show. In my predictions, I picked Brandon Figueroa twice. Obviously, I picked Naoya Inoue. And the one time, man, I have faith in him, like you said, because he looked good against Brandon Figueroa. I'm like, oh man, obviously against Inoue, who looks good against Inoue? Like no one looks good against Inoue, right? Yeah. So I'm like, oh, he just had that slip up, but man, this one he looked maybe even worse. I know he didn't get stopped, but it was just no chance, man. Yeah, I think Foster probably won every single round. If you're being kind, you gave Fulton a couple, but yeah, it was bad, man. Danny Garcia's bar, supposedly, says Kyle. Danny Garcia's bar, who was actually right behind Fulton holding his one of his belts.
Okay, that makes sense. That's probably accurate.
His face even looked different, says Iceman.
No, usually at the end of a fight, Gio, even if you feel like you lose, you have the fighter or the corner. They're supposed to act like they won. There was no sign of that. There was no hand raise. It looked like Fulton was just happy the fight was over, to be honest. So again, props to O'Shaquie. He was professional. He looked good in there. Just boxing lesson. The bigger man beating the smaller man and in all areas. So again, can't take that away from Foster. Again, huge win for him. Disappointing performance for Fulton.
All right. Let's move on to the main event, Chris, because unfortunately, as we stated earlier, we did not get Janibek in this card. So kind of the hype died down a little bit, man. I was excited to see Janibek, especially on a different platform. He's quote unquote crossing the street, right, to try to get that belt. Didn't happen after all. But yeah, we still had Lamont Roach against Isaac Cruz. Chris, 115, 111 for Cruz. Wild. Wild. And then 113, 113, the other two judges. Chris, you're a Pitbull guy. Give me your thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, let me just say, first of all, I'm not mad at the draw. I'm not mad at that, 115, 111, because I can see people seeing it that way. I'm not mad at the 113, 113. As a Pitbull fan, I wouldn't say outright that he won the fight. I think I also don't think Roach did enough to separate himself and scream a robbery. Like what I'm hearing from a lot of fight fans, it was a close fight. Both men had their moments. You know, Roach had his moments. Pitbull had his moments. Not as many as I would have hoped as a Pitbull fan, but again, it was competitive. I'm gonna say, Joe, it wasn't as exciting as I wish this fight could have been. I feel like there was a lot of missed punches from both sides. Um, so yeah, again, I'm not mad at the fight though. At the end of the day, it was a good fight. Two guys that are willing to fight all comers, unlike Tank Davis. So I would love to see it again, but I mean I gotta see more action, man. I gotta see more boxing from Roach. I gotta see more punches landing from Pitbull Cruz. So again, I'm not mad at the decision. I think a draw is fair. Tell me your thoughts. What you thought on the decision, Gio?
Oh man, this was tough. Oh, I definitely didn't see it. I think they had, what was it, 115, 111 for Pitbull. Uh Pitbull was able to get to Roach early on in the fight, knocked him down. Let's see what round was that. I believe it was the third. Let me double check. Um Yes, Roach down in round 3, canceled out by the point deducted in round 7 from Pitbull Cruz, who kept going a little low. It says kidney punch in this one, but he was going a little low. Pitbull's always gonna live life in the fast lane, Chris. He's gonna live life on the edge. He uses his head. He punches low at times. It's a fight at the end of the day, right? Um, so the referee, they're always going to have to be on top of it. In this case, he got a point deducted, several warnings. So that kind of cancels out. So to me, man, I was disappointed that Roach didn't fight his fight, against Tank Davis. He countered a lot of Tank Davis's counters. It was a chess match in there, and I feel like he won that fight.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to be able to box the socks off of Cruz, who does have a tough style, man. You got to give Cruz a lot of credit, Chris. I haven't said that many, many times on this podcast, but one thing you can't say about Cruz is that he's not entertaining and he's not going to give it his all. You know his style. Everyone knows it. Roach knew it. Pitbull Cruz knows it. He's not going to switch it up. He's going to be himself, and you got to give him a lot of credit for that because he goes out there and he's trying to knock your head off. Now, I thought Roach was going to be a little smarter and box a little more. At times, he was trying to be too much of a macho man, perhaps, trying to make a statement. I don't know. But he traded a lot with Cruz in the pocket, in the middle of the ring. Not sure why, but I feel like if he would have boxed a little more, if he would have jabbed a little more, he would have won this fight. I saw him boxing well at times, maybe later in the fight, neutralizing Pitbull's style a little better. If I had to score it one way, I'd probably score it toward Roach, but I think the draw was fair. I'm not mad at it. I just think Roach didn't do enough. And he didn't fight his style. I still thought it was enough to not lose. He was hooking with a hooker, and many times he was beating Cruz to that left hook. Yeah. But yeah, I just wish he would have boxed a little more because we both picked them to win, so that goes out the window. I picked the draw in the wrong fight. But yeah, a tiny bit disappointed by Roach. I feel like he needed a little more. But you got to feel bad for the guy, man. Back-to-back draws, one against Tank Davis, which was controversial. This one, a little more deserved. I feel like the draw, but still, back to back draws against two big names. Man, unlucky for Roach.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I feel because of that Tank fight, we felt that Roach was gonna, box Pitbull's socks off. If somebody like Rayo, that's not a natural boxer, was able to do that to Pitbull, we thought somebody like Roach, who's maybe a level below Shakur Stevenson, was enough. We thought that was enough to do that to Pitbull, but I think Pitbull was able to mix it up. I think Roach was trying, like you said, stay in the pocket and try to get his respect. He didn't want to get on the bike because that style that Pitbull has, and Oscar De La Hoya has said this, when he's talked about that fight, that thing can overwhelm you if you let a guy, just swarm you, and if you're only boxing. So I think he was trying to stand, his ground the way Ryan Garcia said it. He tried to stand his ground, and it wasn't as successful as he as we thought it could be. And then I think Pitbull did a little bit of boxing, which was kind of weird, but it gave him some success in the later rounds. So yeah, I think that couple, Gio, that warrants a draw. So again, I would have loved to have seen Pitbull do more Pitbull things, and I would have, loved to have seen Roach, box a little bit more. But again, a draw, I think it's fair. It would have been unfair if Roach were to lose, in my opinion, with this kind of performance. Yeah, I still don't think that Pitbull warrants a W. So a draw is fair, and maybe they should run it back, Gio.
Yeah, I can see that. Roach did mention something about his hand, injured hand. But man, his face was bruised at the end too. I feel like he took too many unnecessary chances in there. And yeah, I was a bit surprised that he went down. First time down in his career. Uh, both was being dirty. Pitbull with the headbutts low on the hips and holding.
Yeah.
Roach was holding, hitting off the break, forearms, elbows. Yeah, there was a point where it was a bit of excessive clinching going on, but man, I don't know. I think overall it was successful. I think people got excited for it. Obviously, no one
Yeah.
wants to see a draw, but it wasn't a bad show overall, in my opinion. Like I said, I think the biggest takeaway, man, Roach back to back draws. He was not happy about it, but he didn't do enough, man. And I think Pitbull, to me, he's gonna be always a little limited, undersized. You mentioned he boxed well at times. The jab was working for him. We
Yeah.
take a look at some of the punch stats here that are reported. Obviously, never 100% accurate, but it says Lamont Roach outlanded Isaac Cruz significantly in total punches, 191 to 159. While also landing more jabs, 49 to 27, with better accuracy. Roach was more accurate, throwing less punches, but yeah, I think maybe the judges scored. Hey, Pitbull's coming forward. He's fighting his fight. A lot of those punches being effective, and not necessarily a Roach that we're accustomed to seeing. So, at the end of the day, yeah, I would say is a fair result. That 115, 111 scorecard. I'm not sure what they were watching, but at the end of the day, 113, not bad for me. Not bad at all.
Yeah. At the end, I feel like even though this hurts Roach more, like you said, the two draws in a calendar year, even though it gets, after the Tank fight, it got his name up there. That was almost like a W without it being on paper. This one kind of he stays kind of in the same level. I feel like Pitbull doesn't elevate either. He rises a little bit or doesn't drop enough, but or doesn't drop a lot. But man, Pitbull's always gonna have that Mexican faithful, and again, as long as he continues to fight, the Mexican way and continues to stay humble, he's gonna have an audience unless he gets like knocked out or outclassed, which in my opinion hasn't happened. He's been in very close, competitive, tough fights. Even in defeat, he's made a good account of himself. So yeah, we'll see where they go from here, Gio. Let me ask: would you rather they fight other guys, or would you like to see a rematch?
I like to see a rematch. I'm not mad at it. We've talked about like Ryan Garcia and Pitbull Cruz. That's enticing, but I think for both men, I think yeah, this is um, right around their level. Perhaps maybe
Mhm.
Roach still has another level above this one, but he has to prove it first. He has to get these W's, man. He lost to Jamel Herring quite a few years back, but has been pretty good since. You know, and Pitbull obviously he lost to El Rayo a couple of years ago, and he's always going to be in the mix because of that entertaining style. He's a fan favorite, but yeah, I think they got to run it back, man, and maybe stack up the card again, that undercard,
Mhm.
because I'm not sure both of these guys on their own can sell a good pay-per-view. It was pay-per-view or entice so many fans. I think it was smart to do it in Texas, but yeah, they would have to stack up that undercard. But yeah, I would like to see them run it back.
You know, Joe, even though I'm not mad at the draw and I'm not mad at the post-fight conference, they're very respectful. They said they would, they would fight each other again. Immediately, they kind of poked fun at Tank. I'm gonna be one of the ones that says I don't want to see it right away, Gio. That's not a fight I'm super excited to see, to be honest. Respect to both guys, but honestly, I want to see something different. I want to see, like you said, a Pitbull versus a Ryan. That's a Goku versus Vegeta kind of fight. I want to see Roach, running back with Tank. I know that they want to fight. Tank's team is the ones that seem like they don't. There's not a lot of interest or money there for them. But that has a better narrative, in my opinion. So, to be honest, if they're running back, cool. I'll still watch. I'll still support. But I would rather see them go different ways, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think everyone's gonna be looking at Tank like, "What's up? What are you gonna do?" Yeah, two guys you had a close fight with, but let's be honest. If Tank Davis is following that Mayweather, blueprint, yeah, I don't think he'll give these guys a chance. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And Joe, I agree with Iceman. This was not a pay per view card, at least not for the price. If it's a pay per view, $39.99, man. I know that the powers that be have to make their money and they have to oversell. So the few that people that do buy, they make their money. But come on, man, it's $39.99. That's the price. That's where America's at right now, Gio. That's the price that we can afford. That will be bought by more households, and they won't pirate it. Other than that, it's everything else is too much.
What would you grade this card? We mentioned Janibek so many times on this podcast, but
Yeah,
what'd you
I
think
think you like.
overall?
I feel like. Yeah, I feel like you like this card more than I did, Gio. I'm gonna give this one a B minus minus minus. Again, I know that Janet Beck getting out of this, it's a big blow. Takes it clear out of the water. And some of the fights were competitive, others were not. Some were boring, some were okay, some were rather entertaining. But yeah, B minus 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 in my opinion, Gio.
I would
What
agree
about you?
with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. I do like that there were so many names on this card. I was able to
Yeah,
start watching pretty early, and there was a good solid 3 hours of boxing, I would say. So I wasn't mad at
yeah.
that. When will they stop putting Lada on a pay per view? Says Iceman.
Man, yeah, yeah. Frank Martin's for sure. I almost gave this one a C, but that knockout kind of brought it up to a B in my opinion. But yeah, this card before Gio, I said this is a good card. With Janibek in there, I was like, ooh, this one's gonna tell us, how much of a boogeyman Janibek has really been. Again, I know Lada's a respected fighter in his prime, and because he was so good in his prime, he's able to stick around in a weak middleweight division outside of Janibek. So I would have loved to see what transpired in that fight. I almost wanted to predict a Janibek TKO with the fading, aging Lara. But yeah, man, Lara lives to fight another day, Gio.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Kyle, you did miss it. We did speak on Martin. We started with that. We said it was impressive, man, stopping the veteran Rances Barthelemy. But Chris, let's go ahead and fast forward to what we got going on this weekend, because we do have Diego Pacheco who's going to be fighting in Stockton, California. That's going to be on the zone. All right, we got Diego Pacheco against Kevin Saijo. Hope I'm saying that right. Gabriel Flores Jr. fighting at home against Joe Cordina. That should be a pretty good fight. Sky Nicholson. Man, how'd they get her to come to Stockton, California? I think she's Australian. That's wild.
Wild.
Tito
And
Mercado is on there as well. Tito Mercado. Good card.
Yeah, it's not a bad card, man. That's not a bad card to end the calendar year. And I know, Gio, I know a lot of people have been paying attention to that Teofimo Shakur Stevenson. We could talk about that after you get done with the schedule, but
Yeah.
it's been some back and forth, man. It's been some back and forth between those two men.
Yeah, let's go to that. Let's go to that. I did post a poll. You see it there on your screens. I'm intrigued, Chris. See how many votes we have.
Me too.
Let's refresh it.
I think I know who they're gonna favor, but I'm very intrigued with Teofimo. He's not being as loud, boastful self that we're used to seeing. So I don't know if that's a mental game that he's playing. I don't know if he's letting Shakur just talk his mouth off. It's a very intriguing fight, and that one's gonna start off the calendar 2026 here. So let's see these numbers, Gio. What we got?
Yeah, we will talk about Crawford and WBC. Chris Iceman is bringing it up on the chat as well. Don't forget, we got to talk about that. But some quick comments before I click on the numbers. Actually, a really good fight, says Ray something. Who is paying for the shit? Says lunch for Azza. I don't know. Just doesn't seem to like this fight. Stevenson is better all around, true boxer, but Dale has experience, says Eric. Good match for Styles. Um, let's see. Surprise Dale did not duck. Dale all day, says another boxing fan. So let's click on the numbers, Chris. I'm gonna go with Dale. Who do you favor in this fight? This is right now. I'm gonna go with Dale. Let's see. 68%, Chris.
Ooh,
For Teofimo Lopez.
wow.
Wow. 68%, 32 for Shakur Stevenson.
That is very surprising. Again, my vote probably would have been with Shakur just based on logic, based on, I tend to always favor or almost always favor the pure boxer. Even though I agree Teofimo has more experience that could pay dividends, but man, that's surprising. 60s, over 60% voting for Theo. You know what, Gio? I think it's because Theo's being very humble this time around. I think he's being very methodical, very quiet. Shakur is taking on the villain role, in my opinion. He's the one that's being boastful, saying that he's gonna, beat the brakes off of Theo. And Theo was just kind of like taking it, like, okay, sure, we'll see, fight night. So again, I think a lot of the audience is favoring the Teofimo being playing the hero part as opposed to Shakur taking on the villain, which we've seen many fighters in the past before have done. The Floyd Mayweathers, the ABs, and they they thrive on that. So very intriguing with those numbers, Gio. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe more so because of the size. Teofimo has been fighting at heavier weights than Shakur Stevenson. They're about the same size, but that was my line of thinking. But yeah, that's surprising. Surprising to me.
Yeah, and again, I think a lot of these people are. I my heart wants Teofimo to win just because I think that's better for boxing. We've said in the past, we've joked in the past. Of course, Stevenson, with all his skills, his defensive, fortitude, he's not the most fan friendly style for the entertainment factor of boxing. I think Teofimo, with his natural trash talking, with his exceptional celebrations, which he hasn't done in a minute, but all the entertainment he does, even Shakur told him on one of the one-on-ones, why are you so quiet? You carried the last promotion last time around when you were with the Ryan Garcias, with the Rollies. Rollies is usually another entertaining figure. That time he was quiet. It was Teofimo being all loud and brash and boastful and very fun, very funny. So I think the audience is going with the experience factor that Theo has. He's playing the hero role in this, in my opinion, and they do believe in his experience. So I don't know, Gio. I'm conflicted now, man. Very excited for this fight. Can't wait to see more of the press conferences. And yeah, man, 2026 can't come soon enough.
Okay. Let's move on to the last topic, Chris, before we get out of here. Crawford,
Your boy,
WBC, dropped the belt. I got it right here.
your boy, Terence Crawford.
He dropped the belt, and now I got it. Look at that. Everyone has one of these bad boys right here. Even Even I got one. What are your thoughts, man? He dropped WBC belt. He dissed him. He said, I ain't paying the 300K. Well, it's upside down. My fault. I ain't paying the 300K. Y'all can keep it. He's no longer undisputed.
Yeah, so I mean, I think a lot of people have had their opinions on this. A lot of people are supporting T Bud. A lot of people are for the WBC, saying like, "Hey, man, you've been paying these fees. Just keep paying them. They go to a good cause." I'm gonna have to side with T Bud on this one. And even though a lot of people say, "What's 300K? You made 50 million. Like, dude, pay that money. That's gonna go to." I'm with them in that I know we have friends that work in the WBC. We have people that are entrenched in that organization. But man, I don't understand why the WBC is charging more than the other alphabet organizations. All the other ones pay the same amount. And T-Bone has gone up and said that he's like, why do I have to pay more? So I kind of agree with them, Gio. I kind of agree with them. I think he's bigger than the belts now. I think that the WBC should be a little bit more respectful of who they have as a champion, and they should be playing on an even playing field with the other alphabet organizations. So yeah, man. Even though he could easily pay the 300K, I'm not mad at him for dropping it and for standing on business. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw some mixed emotions. Oscar De La Hoya defending WBC,
Yeah.
some other fighters, and I don't know. I feel like I would never necessarily stand up for these alphabet organizations, Chris. The three-letter organizations. So
Mhm.
I'm always gonna stick with the fighter. So hey, I'm in his corner this time around. T. Bud Crawford. I don't really care. Um, I feel like you don't have to disrespect him necessarily. There's been so many fighters who have dropped belts, and you know, and that's that. You know, you don't necessarily, you shouldn't disrespect the president or the people working for them. But if they drop belts, I'm never mad at that, because at the end of the day, the fighter should be the boss. The fighter should be in charge, and no one should tell them what to do. But yeah, not a big fan of the disrespect, the words, but the actions. Hey, go for it. Who cares? You won it. You can do whatever you want with that belt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know that there's been talks, and I mentioned it earlier, that a lot of that money does go to help, families and fighters and all that. And obviously, we're not in those positions. We don't know, what these fighters' families and they go through. So maybe the WBC does help. I do believe that, but I also believe we shouldn't get greedy. And 100K is much better than nothing. So by getting greedy, the WBC has lost 100K. That 100K could have gone to help many families over Geo. So again, for you wanting the 300K, you end up losing 100K that could have gone a long way. That's just my thoughts, just my opinion. And yeah, man, again, I stand and agree with T Bud on all the respectful stuff, not the disrespectful stuff.
I think he dined and dashed, says Iceman. That's a great way to put it. He says, I say if you don't want to pay the fees, don't fight for the belt. Makes sense too. Makes sense. And he also says he doesn't need the WBC anymore. I think that was the criticism that Oscar had, because he has his boy Turkey Al Sheikh now, who obviously um is now owner of the Ring magazine, the Ring belt, and obviously they're trying to make that the main belt. Some people I know were criticizing Crawford because of that, because it's like, oh, that's just basically your master telling you what to do. But yeah, there's so many takes on this. There's so many different
Yeah.
takes on this. I thought it was interesting. Um, but yeah, I always want to side with the fighter. But if it's genuine, if he's not forced to do it, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I know. Like another topic they would bring up is that these organizations built you, paid fees all these years, all these times, so they help build you. Yes and no. At
Yeah,
the end of the day, it's the fighter that gets in that ring that puts their life on the line, not the promoter. It's not the promoter taking punches. It's not anybody on the staff taking punches. It's the fighters. So, yeah, man, we should. I mean, the organization should never, in my opinion, get over greedy. Just get what everybody else is. Has decided on the number, and shouldn't be asking for more, in my opinion. But c'est la vie, Gio. C'est la vie.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of fighters have dropped belts. There's no need to disrespect these guys. At the end of the day, if they help you build your name, then there's no need to disrespect them. I think Usyk, perfect example. He got stripped, I believe, too, of the IBF. At the end of the day, it's kind of a choice on the fighter's end, because they can appeal, they can make some type of deal with the organization, and if they
Yeah,
just allowed the belt to be dropped, it's kind of on the fighter too. So I'm sure Usyk just said, "Hey, whatever. I'm very fuel right now. I don't care." You know, but you don't see him cursing out anyone. I know Canelo many
yeah,
times has dropped the WBC belt, and he still has a very good relationship with the Suleiman. So yeah, I think you can drop the belt, just don't be disrespectful. It's the way I would approach it as a fighter. You don't necessarily want to burn these bridges either, but hey, if he thinks Turkey got his back, then yeah, he probably doesn't care.
yeah. No, completely agree. To me, I think I would have handled it a little bit different. Like you said, there's appeals. There's let's talk this out. I think 300 is too high. Let's talk logically here. And at the end of the day, sometimes you can be talking to a wall, and they don't want to listen to logic. Again, you're the fighter. You're the one that's risking your life, your health. You're the one that has to take care of your babies, your family. So I can't be too mad at Bud Crawford for that. Again, they're the ones that are taking the risk.
Yeah. Last comment here, they use the belts to sell the fight, so the fighter is making more with the belt, says Iceman. And yeah, I agree. Like you said, they're helping you kind of build that name, build that notoriety, because at the end of the day, if it's not a championship fight, if the belt's not on the line, if you're not winning all these belts, then it's just a normal fight, right? We're always going to be more enticed to watch an
Yeah,
NBA
for sure.
Finals game than a regular season game, right? Super Bowl
Yeah,
as opposed to just a regular season game, or World Cup Final as opposed to just a regular group stage game. So in that sense, yeah, the belt is very important. But
yeah,
yeah, I think there's good arguments on both sides.
yeah. To end it, Gio, I think Suleiman shouldn't have pushed the horses. But hey, that's just my opinion, man.
Yeah, he had some words to say too, but at the end of the day, hey, we're talking about it. I didn't want to say their name, but I think I said their name like 7 times already, so it works. It worked.
It works, man. It works.
All
Yeah,
right.
man.
Yeah, that's all I got, man. Hey, I just want to tell everybody, please subscribe to the channel if you're not subbed already, man. Hit that like button. Go check out that interview with Raymond Morataya. If you missed the live, it's up on the channel now. He has a very important fight against Andy Cruz, January 24th, live from Las Vegas, defending that IBF strap. And yeah, man, thank you guys for keeping the chat lit. Thank you guys for tuning in and all that good stuff, man. We appreciate it. Chris?
No, again, we're very respectful. We try to be very respectful when it comes to these fighters. One name in front, Andy Cruz. Obviously, after fight night, we'll get another interview and we can ask about all these names, especially. And I told Ray before the interview, these two behind me. So I know that he's got big fights on the horizon. Obviously, just one fight in mind, unfocused. But like he told us in the interview, he's looking for those super fights, those big fights. I mentioned the Crawford Canelo fight, and he's dreaming of those fights. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for that one. It's not going to be easy. Andy Cruz, a tough customer, technician, like you said, Gio. It's going to be a great night of boxing in January.
All right. Tell them where they could find us, Chris.
And they can find us on Against the Ropes YouTube right here. We also have our website backup against DA Ropes on Wix. So we're gonna be writing more stories, guys. We also, and I'll say this right here, Gio. We're also looking for writers. So if you guys ever want to write in, we will love to share your guys' thoughts, opinions, op-eds on the website. So yeah, man, we're trying to change the game a little bit. We want to make that website somewhere where people can have a community and talk boxing with not just us, but with everybody around the world that loves boxing. So yeah, man, I'm excited. And Gio, I think you're also gonna get our predictions up there on one of those pages, man. You guys can join along, tag along, drop your predictions as well. And we could probably do a little fan site and get you guys go in there as well. But yeah, man, excited for that, Gio.
Yeah, it's still against the ropes.tv, right, Chris? Is that correct?
Yeah,
It's under
that's correct.
construction, so you'll see more and more things being added to that. But you mentioned predictions, Chris. Predictions are your screen. Not sure you guys could see it,
Oh,
but it's up there. You got me by 1. You got 52 W's. I got
only one.
51. Uh-huh.
Oh, there's some tampering there, man. I know I separated myself.
You got 48 KOs. I only got 40.
Man, you get a little poly power there.
Bro,
You know,
I take my time, man. I take my time.
you're like, I'm not a one hit. I'm not a one hitter quitter. I put my punches together.
Yeah,
So where are we at right now?
you're at 52 and 19. I'm at 51 and 20.
Hey, right there on my heels, man. Right there on my
Yeah,
heels.
I think what got you was some of the I think you went for like Medaliev, right, against Inoue.
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
got that one by KO, so I made a little comeback, but yeah, I think this weekend hurt me, man. What I had Shane Mosley there, I had Fulton, got those wrong, so yeah, I'm back on catch up, man. I lost a few rounds. I got to catch up now.
When we interview some of these fighters, man, we get a little bias and we end up losing. But hey, it's all right, man. It's all love. Again, there's gonna be moments where I'm gonna be voting with my heart. There's gonna be some times where I'm gonna be like, "Yo, Gio, this is an anonymous. You know, don't say that I voted for this guy." But yeah, man. Okay, you're on the heels, man. You're not behind. I thought you were like 3, 4 fights back. Not bad, not bad. You know, you're still there. You still got a chance.
I made you took Barboza too against Teofimo. I think
Yeah.
that one hurt you. Uh, you went with Shiraz against you went with Berlanga against Shiraz. That one hurt you.
What was I thinking? Oh my god, it's not even a homie.
So I had a good run, man. But yeah, like I said, this weekend I got a lot of X's on there, so you guys can see it, man. Um, but yeah, we'll see how it ends. We got a few fights. I believe we got still a Inoue coming up, so we'll Inoue Nakatani. So we'll definitely throw those in there. But yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. We're definitely veterans. 71 fights.
We're
Got
getting up there. Did we already pass Canelo in fights? Yeah, Canelo's got like 66, 67 fights.
Yeah, man. It's been a crazy year, Chris. A lot of
Gotta catch
fights.
up. Gotta catch up to Julio Cesar Chavez, man. But yeah, no. Eventually, I want to see the Icemen, the Kyles, to see their expertise, see if they can one up us on our predictions. But yeah, man, excited to see that update and can't wait to finish out the year. We're gonna have an award show at the end, Gio. Some Oh man, how did I pick Berlanga, man? I gotta rewind that,
You
man.
might have gone KO too. Yeah, you went KO.
Thinking, man. I must have been thinking Berlanga, put up a good effort against Canelo and Shiraz looked not him. You know, I thought maybe he was a little hype because of his last outing, which I did see in person in Saudi. So I must have been just a prisoner of the moment, Joe. Because man, I got that one wrong, big time, big time.
Man, Chris is such a boxing fan. He said, "Man, our scorecards are wrong." As soon as I pulled him up, he said, "That can't be right, man. There's some
That
tampering
cannot
with
be
these
right.
cards."
I thought I was at least 3 up.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Gio filled it in after the fight. All right,
That's
it's cool. It's
hilarious.
cool. It keeps you on your toes. Yeah, I gotta stay competitive, man. Gotta stay focused.
Yeah, there was some where you went with your heart. When you went with the friends of the show. You went with the friends of the show.
Nah, I can't. I gotta go with some friends of the show, man. That they catch me on the next interview. They're gonna be like, you didn't vote for me. I'm not gonna give you this interview. I'm like, oh, come on, man. But yeah, man, I'm excited, man. We're gonna. It's gonna be a tight end to the calendar year, Gio. Are we doing any predictions for any of these weekend's fights?
I mean, you want to do Pacheco? We're
That's kind of a gimme,
Yeah,
huh?
we're
That's
probably
kind
gonna
of
go. Yeah, we're probably gonna go with the same one. So let's see what
yeah.
else. I think we just have the Inoue fight
Okay.
toward the end. Tim's U is back on the 17th. That's in Australia.
December?
Yeah.
Okay, we might have one or two there left to predict.
Our boy Ramon Cardenas is fighting on the 18th. Pro box. Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. We got some fights. We got some fights.
Okay.
Alicia Baumgartner in the undercard. Shout out to her, man. Yo, Gasta just got signed to MVP too. Shout out to her. Valle.
Y'all heard the Gio Riz voice come out of nowhere?
Shout out to her. Got to get her on the pod, man. Who knows Alicia? Tell her we're looking for her.
Yeah. Oh my God, Jay with the comment in the 12th. Read that comment, Gio. Jay coming out of nowhere with the haymaker in the 12th.
Winner fights the GOAT, Rod Salka. Hey, you a real one for remembering that Rod Salka name.
Dude, Iceman and Kyle were racking up rounds this podcast, 1 through 11, and this guy Jay comes out of nowhere with a haymaker. Jeez. Man, too funny.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, man, that's all for me, Gio. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning in, and if you guys are watching this on repeat, drop your comments. We'll read them on the next pod. Again, appreciate you guys' support throughout the year, man. I can't wait for award season. Like they said, Martin probably got in there with another late entry to knockout of the year. So yeah, Norman Jr. got to run for his money, and we got to go digging for some of the other knockouts that have been exceptional this year, Gio.
Shit, Jay may have gotten the knockout of the year. Not gonna lie. This guy, he went in like the WWE stars with the chair, huh?
This guy came out looking like
he ran
John Cena. Last minute entry, dude.
He didn't even run from the stage. He came from the crowd. Like he wasn't even supposed to be part of the show. He came from the crowd with his chair, went under the ropes, boom, just hit everybody with the chair. Everybody in that ring. Boom. Kyle, take that. Boom. Iceman, boom, take that.
Dude, Iceman and Kyle were Sergio Martinez through 11 rounds against Cesar Chavez, and Chavez landed that hook, man. Man,
he landed one of those Chavez against Meldrick Taylor.
For real.
Man, shout out to you guys, man. One-liner shiner.
Okay, Kyle got a chin. He's still in this fight. He stayed in it, man. He got a good chin.
Here you go, bro. I'm going to give you this belt since everyone gets one of these. Bam. It's all yours.
How much is it? 300K, Gio? 300K? Only?
I had to pay my 300K fee to keep this. Man. They're going to come knocking on my door and repo my belt, Chris.
Oh, man. Suleiman coming for that belt. That belt fee. Better go hide, Gio. You better go relinquish them belts.
Man, I'm in Montana, too. If they ask, I'm in Montana right now.
Man.
All right, guys.
I'm going to before Suleiman comes, Gio. Let's get out of here.
Payday.
Hey, shout out to Canelo, man. I know he always makes we always try to not mention the name because he owns the podcast, but shout out to Canelo, man. I know he's taking his vacation time. I know he's getting some much needed rest, but I'm sure he'll come back in May, man. Shout out to Canelo. Get that rest.
Crawford said, I'm keeping my payday. I'm not sharing. Payday. You know that.
You know that.
Vamos. Peace.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.